Hey everyone, it's Maria and this is my channel Planners in Practice. Today I'm sharing with you one of my weekly spreads and it's the one for week number 47. I hope you like it and let's begin. So first of all, for this week I decided to use actually 2 pages instead of just one because I found that one is just simply not enough. So yeah, we're working with 2 this time. Then for the week number, I have the standard look I'm using for this month. And on the right, I decided to also squeeze in a calendar of the month. And after that, you'll see unfortunately that my camera had an issue and so I couldn't film a bit of the creation of the spread, but not too much fortunately. So basically what it missed is something that I find super important when creating these weekly spreads, and it's starting with top 3 weekly goals. Because a lot of the time we find ourselves doing a lot of things and we are busy, but are we actually contributing our efforts to something that really matters? That's a whole separate question. So that's where these weekly goals come in, so that we can make sure that we know what's most important for us right now and we can prioritize, and we know that whatever the week brings, this is our priority and that's what we are going for. Then after that I have the usual space for every day, and then you can see Big Ben, which is a huge landmark for London obviously. And since our theme is autumn in London, there are the leaves and yeah, Londonish stuff. So on the next page there are a couple more work days, and for the weekend I'm using a single space because I find that I'm not having that many tasks to complete as during the work day, so that's working fine for me. And then we have also the flag over there in the upper right corner because I wanted to have something, well, you know, typical for the country, and yeah, thought this would look nice. Then the last bit that is on the right at the bottom is another super important for me part of having an effective weekly spread, I would say. And that's a weekly review section. And what this does is it gives me an opportunity to look back on the week. Usually I do that on a Sunday, and I'm asking myself some questions, reflecting on the time that has passed. And I have 3 questions basically. First one is what could have been better, any improvements that you can think of, in my case stuff that I could have done better, or overall situations that could have turned out better. I find this very useful because when I'm doing it over time, there are definitely themes and patterns that emerge, and sometimes you might find a change that you need to do if you have something recurring over there. Then it's wins of the week, and this is super important because it helps me keep track of all the good stuff happening, and especially this time of year. Or rather this year, it's something that it's always good to be reminded of. It also helps a lot with tracking progress, which is also great because, you know, it's all about progress, not perfection, and as long as we know that we are making the right steps towards those things that really matter, then that's great, even if things are not going perfectly. Then the last question is about next week. So these are things that I would want to transfer if they haven't been completed, or just stuff that I think is a good idea to complete the following week. So going back to Big Ben, as you can see, it took me quite a lot of time to color this in, and this was mainly because I had no idea what I wanted to do with it. And in these situations, and especially when it comes to buildings, I like having a very light first wash at first, similar to the color that I want to use, and after that build from there. And in my case, again this time I'm using the Sennelier Watercolors, my favorite, so this is not sponsored or anything like this, it's just what I like. But with them it's really great when you have that first wash and then you want to build up color. It's amazing for that. So if you haven't made up your mind as to what exactly you want, you can really build it up as you go, and it's just a matter of deciding when it's a good time to stop, basically. I'm doing the same glazing technique with the leaves, just adding some color, letting it dry, and then adding more layers on top of that in order to increase the intensity of the color. Something curious to mention about Big Ben, actually, it's been hidden away for almost a year and a half now, and actually today I happened to pass by over there, and the clock is actually visible, but everything else is still in scaffolding, so I guess it will be some time until they uncover it again. So for the weekly setup, definitely having the weekly goals is key, I would say. Then obviously having some space for each of the days and the weekend so that I can track my tasks as I go. But then also the weekly review is, I would say, super important so that I can look back and see if I managed to cover those weekly goals, if there's something else that was very important that I couldn't get done, and then transfer that to next week. And basically this setup really helps me stay on track with what's important and make sure I'm making some progress on that. Even if it's a small one, it's again, progress is progress, so that's what counts. Then for the flag, I didn't want it to be super structured, and I was rather envisioning a kind of a messy flag. So you'll see what I mean. But yeah, I didn't want it to be too perfect. As same applies for everything else on the page. As you can see, it's more about doodles and sketches rather than actual paintings, I would say. And then lately I really like this technique where you're just splashing some of the color around the picture, and I really like the look of it. And then finishing it with just marking the current week and going over a couple of the headings again. So this is how the spread looked in the end. I hope that it gave you some ideas that you can implement in your own weekly planning. Have a great day and see you on Monday.